there is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Of course, there's $1 million in cash to be distributed too, $650,000 to the winner. But it'd be nice to have that on the shelf, Gary.
It would be very good. That was one of the ones that I couldn't win. I had a couple of chances and I chose the wrong horse to ride a couple of times.
And there's Mick Dittman in the distance on our Pompeii. And, well, the jockey's getting ready to go out. I think it's an opportune time for us now to take a break. And then we'll be back with more of the Caulfield Cup on the Wide World of Sports.
Between the saddle and the ground, mercy sought is mercy found.
Well, let's have one more look at the Caulfield Cup prices. The horses are going down towards the start, and excitement is getting almost at fever pitch. Number 1, Sub-Zero, is at 20 to 1. Number 2, Castletown, what a marvellous old horse he is. Noel Harris from New Zealand is a jockey. He's at 80 to 1, but what a record he's got. Mannerism at 16 to 1. Azam at 20s. Kiwi Golfer, another Kiwi, is at 14 to 1. Well, it'd be a bit surprising if he wasn't a Kiwi with a name like that. The Phantom, another New Zealander, is at 6 to 1, $7 exactly on the tote. And Jimmy Walker, who got such a roasting when he was beaten on Viander Cross up in Sydney by Naturalism last year in the Derby and the Rosehill Guineas, well, I'm sure he'd have a huge smile on his face if he wins the Caulfield Cup for more reason than one. 6 to 1, the Phantom. Fra is at 33 to 1. Our Pompeii, George Hanlon, you saw him speaking with Anne-Marie. Mick Dittman, the jockey, top trainer, top jockey. He's favoured on the tote at 9 to 2, exactly $5.50. Channel 9's The Slipper, Shane Dye, RS Dye on Air Seattle at 16 to 1. Silk Ali is at 7 to 1. Grant Cooksley, well in commission, been well backed, Silk Ali. Field Officer is a 60 to 1 chance. Examination at 25 to 1. He looks well, but perhaps he lacks the class. Saracen at 60 to 1. Mahaya is a scratching. Our Tristalite at 12 to 1. Brent Thompson, the jockey. Slanchavar, one of the Lee Friedman team, is getting out to almost 20 to 1. Azuro is at 25 to 1. Patrick Payne. Great Vintage has come in a fraction from 7.5 to 1 to 7 to 1. Stephen King, the jockey. And Telesto, little Alfie Langer as they call him, has come in from 20s to 16s. Frontier Boy is a scratching. Well, there's the runners behind the barrier. And Gary Willits, I'll say one thing, Stephen King's done very well to get down to 48.5 to ride Great Vintage at that weight.
Well, that's right. I was talking to Stephen early in the week, and I think he's lost about 3 kilos, which is a great effort, Ken. And I saw him ride Land Speed Record early in the day, and that horse pulled very hard, so he did a great job.
Well, that's Saracen in the front of the screen there, one of the roughies, and I think it's Saracen. That will be a great surprise if it can win the Caulfield Cup. Number 16 there in the green colours is, of course, Slanchavar from the Lee Friedman team. Oops-a-daisy, I hope you can hear that better now. Slanchavar in the green colours there, and that's Shane Dye on Air Seattle, tucked in behind the Clerk of the Courses pony there. And we spoke to Shane earlier in the day to see what he thought of likely tactics in a race like the Caulfield Cup.
The main race of the day, the Caulfield Cup. Barriers are of great importance. It helps to draw in here because you do not want to be wide going to the first turn. You have 400 metres to the first turn, and the major thing is staying out of trouble. After that, if you're wide going around the first turn, you've got another 400 metres to get in, and you must get in to win. Then it's uphill from the 1,200 metres to the half mile, and you don't want to push your horse along. From the half mile, the race really begins. They all take off around them. You want to stay out of trouble, but you've got to go forward to help. Then it's straightening up, and it's every man for himself, and you are just trying to win. I like our Pompeii. He's going to get a good run on the race, and he's the one to beat.
And I'm sure if anyone can beat him, well, Raymond Shane Dye will be trying as hard as anyone, Gary.
That's right. Well, look, Ken, looking at them, going out, the horses I liked the most were 3 Mannerism, 8 Our Pompeii, 10 Silk Ali, and I really like the look of Great Vintage. I think she's, well, just typical Bart Cummings. She just looks magnificent.
That horse there in the blue colours with the red cap is Fra. He's one of 2 David Hayes runners. David has also got the grey horse, Azam. And David is another fellow who Anne-Marie Sparkman has caught up with.
Trainer David Hayes has Farrar and Azam in the Caulfield Cup. Either of those likely winners? I think Farrar, because he's got such a good record at Caulfield, is a great chance, and at 33 to 1, I think he's a bit over the odds, and I'd certainly be having a few dollars each way.
Well, it's not looking such a great race for you this year, and a lot of people think you really haven't got too much chance with those, but you're still optimistic, and you always are.
No, well, a lot of people have overlooked Farrar because he's been finishing, hasn't figured in the finish, but he has had genuine excuses, and he's very fit. And I think straightening, he'll definitely be one of the winning chances.
And if it wasn't Farrar, who would be your pick in this field?
I think Al Pompey. He's drawn barrier 4. I can just remember how impressive he was in the handicaps in Adelaide, and now he's back to handicap conditions over 1.5 miles. He'd be the one I'd like to saddle up.
Thanks, Dave, and good luck in the rest of the carnival.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of them, Gary, are coming up with your old sparring partner, George Hanlon's horse, Our Pompey. They're nearly all in the barrier. A last tip from you.
Well, I'm going to stick with, the Phantom. I think I'll have to stick with him. I know the odds are against him. As I said before, it's 1930 when you have to find a 8-year-old won the Caulfield Cup. That was Amanus, but he doesn't know how old he is.
Exactly right. I think he might win too. I'm tipping the Phantom. Let's hope he gets up. Time now, I think, for us to just about go to our caller. He's not quite ready, John. There's 1 or 2 to go in. Then we'll go to John Russell. Well,
the old adrenaline will be pumping with some of these jockeys now, Ken.
It sure would. The last thing is everything in place, is your goggles in place, is the horse ready.
I'd love to be there.
OK, John Russell's ready. Let's go to him for the running of the 1993 Caulfield Cup.
Welcome, viewers, to Channel 9 Wide World of Sport. They're all in the stalls. Lights on. They're off to a great start. And the first to jump near the inside, Sub-Zero. Our Pompey jumped away very quickly. The Phantom well placed shortly after the start with Silk Ali. And down the outside is Kiwi Golfer, followed by Our Tristolite, and Sarah Sun is looking for the lead with Azuro. They're followed by Farrar, a length and a half. Field Officer on the outside, being followed by Mannerism, who's now 3 off the fence as they come down the straighter. Great Vintage is a bit further back, followed by Air Seattle, a length and a half as Arm, followed by Castletown from Slangivar. Second last near the inside is Telesto, and dropping out to last is Examination. Out of the straight in the Cup, 2,000 metres left to go. Sarah Sun, the leader, by a length and a half. Kiwi Golfer, second half a length back on the inside, and the box seat is Our Pompey. Close up behind them, Our Tristolite. A length further back is Azuro, half a length away on the fence, the Phantom. They're followed by Farrar, a length and a half. Sub-Zero on the outside of Silk Ali. 2 lengths away then came Field Officer. They're followed by Air Seattle. 1 length further back is Mannerism as the field starts to spring out, a length and a half then. Further back is Great Vintage over on the outside of Castletown, closely attended by Azama. Then Slangivar, who's third last, followed by Telesto, and Examination has dropped out to last. They're climbing the hill with about 1,300 metres left to go, and Sarah Sun is cutting them along by over a length to Kiwi Golfer. In third place on the rails, Our Pompey, Tristolite just in behind them, and she was being followed closely by Azuro. The Phantom is getting a perfect run on the inside of Farrar. They're followed next over on the inside by Silk Ali, and just behind them, moving forward then around the outside, is the Field Officer being followed closely by Sub-Zero. On the rails here, Seattle Mannerism's a fair way back in the field at that point, followed by Slangivar commencing a move. Castletown, Azam is third last on the inside of Examination, and Telesto is last of all. 800 metres out in the Cup. Sarah Sun by a half length. Kiwi Golfer is second out. Tristolite on the outside of Our Pompey with the run of the race. They're followed by Azuro just in behind them. Farrar is making ground, and then came the Phantom, and further back in the field came Silk Ali, who's looking for a run. Just in behind them, around them goes Sub-Zero, and further back in the field around the outside, Examination and Great Vintage as they come around the home turn. Sarah Sun tackled by Kiwi Golfer, and looming up on the outside is Farrar, and Our Pompey is under the whip looking for a run as they straighten up. Silk Ali followed further back by the Phantom, and Great Vintage is a long way back, halfway down the running. Kiwi Golfer's hit the front, tackled by Farrar down the outside, running on well Our Pompey, and then Sarah Sun, the Phantom, Silk Ali from a long way back, but Farrar's in front with 100 metres left to go. Our Pompey is flashing home, Farrar in front, and Farrar, I think, may have just held up Air Seattle, who's come with a big run down the outside. Farrar and Air Seattle in a photo in the Caulfield Cup, followed by Our Pompey, Telesto, Silk Ali, and then came Azuro, followed by Castletown, Kiwi Golfer. Next to finish in the event would be further back there, the Slangivar, followed next home by Castletown, and back behind them in the race, Great Vintage, weakened out of it, followed next home by Sarah Sun. Well back at the head of the others came Azam, and the last home, one of the tail enders, is the Phantom. What a finish in the Caulfield Cup, and a desperate finish with Fra.
Okay, let's pick this up now and let's try and line them up. That's Fra going to the lead in the blue colours with the red cap. He looks home now. Watch very wide out. You'll see Air Seattle absolutely rattling home, and Air Seattle dives at Fra, and it's very close as they hit the post. Let's line them up, and there's the number in the frame now. Number 7, Fra, has just held on to beat Air Seattle, and there's, oh golly, a lot of them in it for third. The Phantom, Silk Ali, Telesto steaming down the outside. Right, there's Fra, 3 out from the rails. Kiwi Golfer in the white and black with the red cap. He's gone. Fra grabs him. Silk Ali in the pink colours, then the Phantom, and then widest out of all, Air Seattle. Air Seattle diving at Fra, just failed to make it. The winner, number 7, Fra, second, number 9, Air Seattle, and third officially was number 6, the Phantom. What an exciting race of the Caulfield Cup of 1993, Gary.
Well, that's right. That's what I can't...
Right, David Hayes is now with Anne-Marie Sparkman. There they are on screen. Here's Anne-Marie.
Yeah. David Hayes, you said before the race that he would win. I thought you were just an eternal optimist.
I was a lot of hoping that we'd set the horse for the race, and it was a great ride by Hutchie. He used to be called Golden Hands, and after Wednesday called him Drop Your Hands, and now he's Golden Hands again. So it was just a huge thrill.
Yeah. I mean, at which stage of the race were you very confident?
At about the 700, I could see when the tempo quickened and our horse's white pacifiers came into thing, I thought, geez, it's going to be hard to beat from here.
He produced that finish that you wanted today?
Yeah, he kicked at the right time. Got a bit tired on the line, but he's there.
Congratulations, David. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, there is the winner, Fra, Peter Hutchinson, in the blinkers, and what an exciting moment for him.
He'll be pretty happy, Ken, because on Wednesday in the Kunji Handicap, he looked to have the race won, and Silk Ali just took it off him, and he was pretty upset about that. He thought, you know, he should have won the race, and this is a great tonic to Peter. There's nothing like winning.
Yeah, well, Fra certainly looked the part. He was the most exciting Caulfield Cup. There was probably 7 horses at the finish, Gary, within about a length.
Well, that's right, and like a couple of them had beautiful runs. I noticed Al Pompey had a beautiful run, the Phantom. These horses will all go on to the Melbourne Cup, and they're the ones you got to watch for, you people at home, because those place getters have a great record in the Melbourne Cup.
Well, there comes back the winner, Fra, of the 1993 Caulfield Cup, with Peter Hutchinson aboard. And as Gary said, he had a good run, but so too did the Phantom and Silk Ali and our Pompey. I certainly don't think any of those 3, who were all well in the market, could offer any excuses. Peter, son of Ron Hutchinson, another Hutchie on the racing scene.
Kenny, I could kick myself because I remember the first weight for age race, the 1400 Liston Stakes. I actually highlighted Fra on Wide World of Sports, but I followed him a fair bit, and then I've dropped him today.
Yeah, I backed him in 1 or 2 distance weight for age races, but oh well, that's the way it goes. And unless you back Fra, you've probably got a long face now. One man who'd still be smiling is Kenny Sutcliffe.
Well, I'm probably smiling because I didn't have a punt on that one, but didn't he give it away there, David Hayes? He said 33s, it'd be well worth an each-way bet. He was so right. Well, the Caulfield Cup's been run and won here on Wide World of Sports. We'll see the connections line up to pick up the prize in just a moment.
Sunday.
Well, the Caulfield Cup is over for another year. 17 days to the Melbourne Cup, and already they're saying the big Melbourne Cup runs were Air Seattle, the Phantom, what a marvel he is as an 8-year-old, and 1 or 2 others in the race. Our Pompey, who can definitely run the 3,200 metres as he showed in Adelaide. I might stick with the old fellow, the Phantom. We've got the dividends for the Caulfield Cup. And if you were lucky enough to back the winner, Fra, TAB number 7, and I know a female Channel 9 reporter who had something on it, and it's paid $34.60 the win and $8.90 for a place on the Victorian TAB. Number 9, Air Seattle, was second, the RS Diamount, and by golly, he's going to be hard to beat at Flemington too. He paid $5.60, and number 6, the Phantom, was third. The Phantom paid $2.40. The Phantom actually ran second favourite on the Victorian TAB. But the winner, no doubt about the winner, Fra. He had a beautiful run, well ridden by Peter Hutchinson, and well, There wasn't a lot in it. I was talking to Gary Willits, and we think there was probably about 7 runners within about a length of the winner. So a very, very close Melbourne Caulfield Cup of 1993. Right, they're getting in place now for the presentation with the lucky owners, trainer and jockey, and time now for us to throw to the Caulfield Cup presentation ceremony.
Mrs. McGarvey, honourable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, Carlton United Brewery have been the major sponsor of Australia's racing for many, many years. And I'm delighted that their great name, their great brand name, Foster's, is the name of our Foster's Caulfield Cup, the Group 1 Foster's Caulfield Cup. Fra is a worthy addition to a lot of great champions who have won this race. I'd sincerely like to thank Carlton United and their Managing Director, Pat Stone, for sponsoring this race for the 10th year in a row. I'd now like to introduce Mr. Pat Stone, Managing Director of Carlton United Breweries. Pat.
Thank you, Peter. Your Excellency and Mrs. McGarvey, Ministers, Acting Mayor of Caulfield, members of the VATC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic race for the 10th anniversary of the Foster's Caulfield Cup. But of course it's the 116th since the inception of this great race. Racing in the state of Victoria is facing the challenge of change. And I think the first steps are well and truly being taken to make sure that the racing industry not just confronts but succeeds in the challenges of the future years. And I have no doubt that while great clubs like the VATC can present magnificent races like the one we've just seen and fabulous race meetings like the one we're at today, then the future of racing in this state and in this country is in very good hands. I'd like to congratulate the owners, the trainer, the jockey and everybody else connected with the winner Fra of this fantastic race. And in concluding, I have great honour in handing over to His Excellency the Honourable Richard McGarvey, who will present the Foster's Caulfield Club to the winning owner. Thank you.
Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Stone, distinguished guests, fellow racegoers, it is a great pleasure indeed to be present at this outstanding meeting of the Victorian spring racing season and to make the presentations. I present the cup to the owners, and on behalf of the owner, Sheikh Hamdan, the cup will be received by Colin Hayes. Congratulations.
Your Excellency, members of the committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, firstly, on behalf of Sheikh Hamdan, I would like to thank the sponsors for their very generous support, and there's no doubt about Carlton United. They're very, very supportive of our industry, and which we're all grateful for. And I'd like to say that Sheikh Hamdan, who has been a tremendous supporter of Australian racing and was introduced to Australia actually by myself, and he's been very loyal and true, and it was a great thrill for me to see this horse win today. I'd like to say congratulations to David, and my son, and of course to Hutchie, who rode it so beautifully. David was calling him drop your hands Hutchie before today, but he assured him he's forgiven now. All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for the way you received the horse.
Well done there. First prize cheque of $650,000 plus trophies worth $3,000. It's been a good afternoon. Well, we'll go looking for a winner a little later in our Memorable Moments giveaway.
Sedgwick live for race 6, City Tattersalls Club Cup. It's a listed race, 2,400 metres, and it carries prize money of $60,000. That's Salcantay in the red, white and green colours. He ran third in the Metropolitan last Monday week, a very good run, and he's one of the chances in today's race. And way back there in the background in yellow colours, you can see a horse called Cavalieri carrying the number 1 saddlecloth. He's a runner, or at least one of the first acceptors for the Melbourne Cup, in which he ran 5th last year. Kenny's got 59, but he might run some sort of a race here, Cavalieri.
Yes, John, he's a bit of a tip, and he's trained by Laurie Laxon, a man who won a Melbourne Cup with Empire Rose. Just got time to go through these approximate tote odds. Number 1, Cavalieri, as we just spoke of, is at 11-2. Chisendo, an 8-1 chance. Now, bookies have taken a big set against Prataris Bay. The bookies are even been offering up to a point longer than this, but still about 5-2 on the tote. 6-1 Salcantay, place getter in the Metrop. 40 Balance of Power. 15-1 Oro Dodino. Superior Model, a bit of money at long odds at 20-1. 33 Flagstaff. 5-1 Zaroke, a tip. 33 Big Risk. I've got my money on Strolling By, trained by Bart Cummings. I think he'll win. He's a 4-1 chance. Uamino at 140-1 and Mine Tochta at 100-1. John, a few still to go in. I think Strolling By will run very well.
Yes, Ken, and I know Bart Cummings had intentions of taking Strolling By to Melbourne for some of the big races, but he didn't earn enough prize money here in the Metropolitan, in which he finished out of a place to get into any of those major races down south. So here he is in the City Tats Cup. Now Strolling By is in there with Cavalieri, Superior Model, and they're off and running. Good start in City Tats Cup. Towards the middle, Strolling By is one of the first out. Zaroke is crossing and is going to lead at the winning post the first time. Pratara Bay moving to third, out deep on the outside of Chisendo, Superior Model, and then Big Risk and Flagstaff and Minor Tochta 5 and 6 deep in the run to the first corner. Cavalieri on the fence, Salcantay between horses racing hard. He's ripping and reefing on the first turn, followed by Balance of Power from Oro Dodino. And dropping out to be last is Uamino. Heading down the side towards the 1,800 metres mark, and Strolling By is in front, a bit more than a length to Prataris Bay. Zaroke is pulling double between horses. Flagstaff 3 deep. On the fence, Big Risk, and a length away, Minor Tochta travelling wide on the outside of Superior Model and Cavalieri. And then Chisendo, Salcantay, Oro Dodino, followed by Balance of Power. 2 lengths away last, Uamino. Over the crossing at the mile, heading to the back, and Strolling By pulling hard is the leader. About 2 on Prataris Bay, a bit more than a length to Big Risk, and ahead to Flagstaff. A length to Zaroke, settling better now, followed by Cavalieri, Minor Tochta, and there goes Uamino. Uamino from the tail of the field is taking off like a sprinter. Right around them now, and he's gone from last to first in one swoop. Down the back, and Uamino takes over with a lightning move, led by 2.5 now to Strolling By. Prataris Bay running third, followed by Big Risk and Flagstaff on the outside, and then Zaroke on the outside of Cavalieri. 2 lengths away, Minor Tochta, followed by Superior Model. Further back, Chisendo, Oro Dodino, Balance of Power, and Salcantay now went back to be last of all as they come to the top turn. Uamino the leader by a length or a bit more to Strolling By. Prataris Bay enjoying a good run, and then Big Risk on the inside of Flagstaff going over the crossing. Further back making ground, Zaroke, Cavalieri bottled up on the fence. Balance of Power taking off around the outside, followed by Chisendo, and then Minor Tochta, Superior Model, Salcantay, and Oro Dodino back at the tail as they come to the turn. Uamino tackled left, right and centre, firstly by Strolling By in the middle, secondly by Prataris Bay. 2 lengths away, Big Risk, followed by Flagstaff. Cavalieri under some pressure, giving them a big start on the turn. Zaroke is well back, followed by Balance of Power and Salcantay. Over the rise now, Prataris Bay has taken the lead away from Strolling By. They're a mile in front of Big Risk, followed by Cavalieri, Balance of Power, and Oro Dodino from a long way back. But Prataris Bay shot clear, wanted to run quickly to the fence, but he's about 3 in front of Strolling By. Cavalieri is charging home now with Oro Dodino, but Prataris Bay's got a big break and he'll win easily. Prataris Bay beat Cavalieri, Zaroke third, 4th Oro Dodino, Strolling By, Minor Tochta, and then Big Risk and Chisendo, Balance of Power, Superior Model, Salcantay, and the last couple Flagstaff and Uamino in City Tats Cup.
Well, it might be a big jump from City Tats Cup, but I think you'll find Gay Waterhouse now brings that horse down to Melbourne for the Melbourne Cup. Look at him go, Prataris Bay. The Grey's first distance tested, 2,400, and he won ease down from Cavalieri, who will be here for the Melbourne Cup. And Cavalieri ran second, and Zaroke third in City Tats Cup of 1993. Not quite the Caulfield Cup, but it was indeed still was a good race, particularly for Prataris Bay. We'll have a break and then be back with more on the wide world of sports.
The boys are feeling hot tonight.
Getting right into it. Let's check the TAB dividends on the previous at Randwick. The numbers 3, 1 and 9. Prataras Bay 4.60 and 2.10. Cavalieri $2.20 and Tsar Oak $1.90. I'll be back with plays of the week and other things. Ken?
Good on you. Thank you, Ian. And once again on the show, we're putting
Okay, we're just minutes away from a start in race 7 at Caulfield, the Norman Robinson Stakes, over 2,000 metres. Here he is, Kenny Callender.
Thanks, Max. Yes, a good field of promising stayers, the 3-year-olds here. I'm tipping Waikika Mukau, a Sydney horse, and I've been practising how to say that. Here we go. Here are the prices. Cole Burnett is at 20 to 1, a long shot. Fine Recipe have been a bit of money for her, into 13 to 2. Battle Hawk is a 3 to 1 chance. Mick Dittman riding Battle Hawk. Fleet Regent is an 80 to 1 chance. Hand of Fate is scratched. Ice Doctor, Patrick Payne at 12 to 1, out and out of 14 to 1. Kendall Star and Mapperley Star are both out. Maguire, a big tip on course, about 3 1/4 to 1, trained at Ballarat by Robert Smurden and ridden by Jimmy Cassidy. Regal Artery, Michael Clark's mount is in from 15s to 14s. Chaos is out from 14s to 15s. They've reversed. Waikika Mukau, he's getting the blows. He's out and out of 4 to 1. Grant Cooksley will ride him. I think he'll run a hell of a race. Perdido is a scratching, and Sibilant, Shane Dye's mount, keeps firming into about 8 to 1 as I speak, to about 7.5 to 1. Shane Dye, as I said, riding Sibilant. We spoke to Shane earlier about what tactics are required from the 2,000 metre start here at Caulfield.
With only 10 runners in the 2,000 metre race here today, barriers are of little importance. I'm on a horse called Sibilant and I'll go forward on her. Doesn't matter whether you go forward or go back, but you have a nice run after the first turn. You don't want to be caught wide because Caulfield's a turning track and that's the last place you want to be. But the race begins here once again from the half mile. They'll sort themselves out and take off very, very fast, and I'll be looking to get into the clear. At the 600, they go very wide at Caulfield because you've got to keep going and maintain a run. But with only 10 runners, it really doesn't matter where you are, as long as you get the last crack at them.
And that, of course, was Shane Dye. Shane is riding Sibilant, who's just gone into the barrier there, and Gary Willits just whispered in my ear to watch Fine Recipe, and she might win the Oaks. They're racing.
Over on the inside, Regal Artery was the first to jump out from Battle Hawk, and Cole Burnett got out well with Fleet Regent. Over on the outside, Sibilant going around them quickly, and they're followed by Ice Doctor, and further back is Maguire, followed by Taos and Waikika Mukau. And Fine Recipe has dropped out to the rear. Along the side, they travel 1,650 metres left to go, and Regal Artery showing the way by a half length to Fleet Regent. Cole Burnett was third over on the outside, being followed by Battle Hawk, 1.5 lengths to Sibilant. Close up behind them is McGuan, and further back in the field is Taos over on the outside from Ice Doctor. And the last couple are Fine Recipe, who's racing on the outside of Waikika Mukau, racing up the hill with about 1,300 metres left to go. Regal Artery by a half length to Fleet Regent, 1.5 lengths Battle Hawk, a nick away the outside to Cole Burnett, 2 lengths further back as Taos, being followed closely by McGuan, who's getting a nice run on the inside of Sibilant, 4 lengths to Ice Doctor, 1.5 then to Waikika Mukau, who's second last, and Fine Recipe is last of all on the side. And Fleet Regent goes to the lead, just over 1,000 metres left to go, a half length to Regal Artery. Battle Hawk is third there, followed by McGuan, saving ground along the inside, 2 lengths away. Taos followed by Cole Burnett. Close up behind them, Sibilant being followed by Ice Doctor, Waikika Mukau second last, and Fine Recipe last of all. At the 800 metre mark, and Fleet Regent just in advance here of Regal Artery. Battle Hawk third the outside. McGuan's getting a lovely run on the inside. Behind them, Taos followed by Ice Doctor, and working his way to the picture over on the inside to Sibilant, followed by Cole Burnett, and Waikika Mukau starting to gain ground from a fair way back, and still last of all is Fine Recipe. Up towards the home turn, 500 metres left to go, and Battle Hawk had raced up on the outside to take the lead with Fleet Regent. Ice Doctor's in hot pursuit. Regal Artery under pressure, followed by Cole Burnett. McGuan as they straighten up. Battle Hawk headed for home nicely clear. McGuan is now in the clear and running on pretty well, and down the outside from a long way back as Waikika Mukau. Battle Hawk as well clear with about 200 metres left to go. Here comes Waikika